Okay, today I wanted to return to our much maligned pentatonic kind of box shapes and stuff like that. I was talking to David today on Skype, cheers David, and we were talking about maybe how we can get from this kind of pentatonic box thinking to something maybe further on down the line from this. So when someone says to me, or you know, lots of people talk about the pentatonic box being like a limitation, and they're saying that they want to move beyond the kind of pentatonic box stuff. I think this is a common thing that people talk about. I wanted to talk about maybe how you can do that. So what I'm presuming the level that you're at or comfortable with when you come to this lesson or this point in your life or whatever this is, when you come to the stage where you're thinking, I'd like to be beyond this stage, is probably something like, say, I'm using the FM3 here with this freeze thing. You're at this stage where someone says to you the A minor pentatonic and you're thinking, yeah, this thing. And I don't know if there's like, the first thing that I think I in the past might have talked about might have been like, there are 4 other shapes around this, right? So you've got this pentatonic box, pentatonic scale made up of 5 notes. You can start that scale from anywhere. Now, what I would typically have done is then showed you that now there are other lessons on this channel, hopefully, talking about this kind of stuff, and so maybe you want to check that out if you want the full amount of stuff. But what I think is actually, when we're going to go from knowing one of these pentatonic box shapes to the next, that's kind of that little micro part that I want to talk about, because you don't learn all of the shapes at once necessarily. What I think you could do is take this pentatonic box shape 1, or the minor pentatonic. So this is A minor. And what I'd want you to kind of consider is that A minor and C major, they're related. A C major's relative minor is A minor. So you can think about this scale in two ways. So the A minor pentatonic could also be the C major pentatonic. There's this kind of thing going on. But Google relative major, relative minor if you're looking for that kind of information. But knowing that, what I think would be useful is if you take this pentatonic box shape and pair it with the next logical one, the major, and start to do this in every key where you join these things up. So you're not any longer thinking about this as just a pentatonic minor shape and then a major shape. You're starting to put it together as being part of the same world. And what we're aiming to do over time is build this bridge where the C major pentatonic or the A minor pentatonic are this one thing that we can view over the whole neck. But obviously you build a bridge one part at a time. So this is what I'm suggesting might be worth practicing. So instead of just going up and down a scale, in this kind of way, what I think is really useful to do is to take patterns through a scale. Obviously there's loads of other people that would have talked about this as well. But for instance, if you were to go up 4 notes, then skip back down to the second note, keep doing that. This is the kind of thing that I think you should do instead of thinking about, I already know this box shape. The stage beyond kind of box playing, I think, is making this box so well known that you're not even really thinking about it when you're playing. It's just kind of there under your fingers. So, as I say, you could try descending in 4s. Descending and maybe with ascend on the way up. And you know, all of these little bits, every time you learn one of these little things or try one of these things, you're kind of solidifying your knowledge of this scale. So then what you might do is kind of try and join these two things up in this kind of way. So as I say, you've got this shape 1, the pentatonic minor, A minor, and then we've got pentatonic major, C major, same notes. So we're going to ascend 4 notes in A minor, pentatonic, ascend 4 notes then in the C major pentatonic, ascend in this kind of way, we could descend in the same kind of way. So you'd get and you're starting to see this then as one slightly bigger box rather than just 2 separate boxes or even 1 box. We're starting to be able to see this first pentatonic, the minor shape, and hold in our heads at the same time the shape that joins up to it. Do you see what I mean? So this is how you're joining that bridge. So other things that we could do, you could take something like this phrase. So we're going to ascend first of all, I'll do it in the A minor shape first of all. So we're going to ascend from the 8th fret to the, on the B string, to the 8th fret on the E string, then down to the 5th fret on the E and B, and then come down to the 7th fret on the G string, And this is going to be like the shape of our phrase. So what we're going to do, we're going to start this in the C major box shape. So 10, 10, 8, 8, 9, 8, 8, 5, 5, 7, back up. In that kind of way, we end up with what I think is quite a musical phrase. And so you see what I mean, like you're taking a small snippet and we're going to repeat the shape of that snippet in first of all. In kind of all of those positions. And this is, I think, the way that you could start to join up these box shapes, and so they become more than just nothing. So, and then eventually you start to see that you could do this in 3-note per string kind of style. To join these up, you could go fret 5, fret 8, fret 10, fret 5, fret 7, fret 10, fret 5, fret 7, 10, 5, 7, 9, and then 5, 8, 10. And you know, you're starting to see a bigger kind of available set of notes because you're not just thinking about one box, and you could even do things like what were we doing there? You know, so you're kind of going to slide down back into your first position and pull off. That could sound really cool, I think. And you could equally slide up, so we go from 5 to 8, slide up to 10, and then on the next string. Maybe we hammer and slide. You get the kind of idea that I think. So start on the E string, then same position, but on the string beneath, slide and pull off. Then and or the opposite, hammer, slide, string above, hammer, slide, string above, hammer, slide, string above, hammer, string above, hammer, slide. And you could do that once you know more of these shapes, or even use this to teach you the shapes. But once you know you've got another shape here, you can do the same. And I think this is a really useful way to start seeing the pentatonics beyond just the box shapes, because you're starting to see more of what's around them at the same time simultaneously. Let me know if that was at all helpful. Thank you for stopping by. Feel free to like and subscribe. If you think there's someone out there who might benefit from this talk about pentatonic scales, send them a video or something. I'll put a tab and worksheet up for this on Patreon. Thank you to all you people on Patreon who sent kind messages during the last few days, and I'll catch you in a video soon. Cheers.